Hello. Today we're at Bulwell Hall Park, which has been a key feature of the Bulwell community for many years. But what do we know about it? Well, let's find out. Sitting alongside an 18-hole golf course, Bulwell Hall Park offers a nature reserve that takes your breath away. The mix of wildflower meadows, ancient woodland, streams, lake and other facilities make this park an ideal place for a day out and an exciting one for anyone with a taste for exploring. However, of the hall itself there is nothing left. Sadly, along with the cultural vandalism during the 20th century that robbed Nottingham of its many great buildings such as Astley Hall and Bramcote Hall, Bulwell Hall itself was taken from us. Bulwell Hall was built in 1770 by John Newton Esquire. It was derisively called Pye White Hall by the locals, which was a general name for plovers or peewits, birds which were very common in the local area around that time. Following his death on the 13th of November 1820, the estate should have passed to his son. However, sadly, the son died only 12 days later. Over the following years, the hall passed through several hands, including Thomas Hardy of Kimberley, who founded the Hardy Hanson Brewery, and he lived there until his death in 1867. The hall was described as having 8 ground floor rooms, in addition to 3 kitchens and 15 rooms on the first floor, some with attics over them. The hall was described by a Pesner as a handsome stuccoed house of 5 bays, 2.5 stories, one with a storey porch, a central Venetian window, and wings at right angles but connected by curving colonnades. In 1908, Alderman Albert Ball, father of the famous First World War flying ace Albert Ball VC, purchased Bulwell Hall and 575 acres with mineral rights. He later sold 225 acres to Nottingham Corporation, which became the Bulwell Hall housing estate. He donated the hall and the rest of the estate to the public as a park. As a side note, it is said that one of the famous Bulwell Jennisons who started the Bellevue Zoo at Manchester missed the sale because the train was half an hour late. It was his intention to buy the hall and start the zoo at Bulwell instead of Manchester. It taxes imagination to picture what Bulwell would be like today if the train had run to its proper time. During the 20th century, Bulwell Hall was used as a sanatorium and an approved school for boys, and during the Second World War as an Italian prisoner of war camp. Sadly, after the war, Bulwell Hall was in a very poor state of repair and had been damaged by mining subsidence. It was finally demolished in 1958. 60 years later, and the hall has become a dim and distant memory of the past. Locals today have forgotten where the great hall once stood and now assume that the crumbling remains of a stable block of the hall itself. Although today there's no real sign of the hall, a golf house now sits on the site, and you can see from some of the older photos that the monkey puzzle tree that is shown in them is still there today. Behind the hall stood the gardens and nursery, which is now sadly a muddy and messy storage area. However, beyond this, up a small narrow walkway, is the only sign that the hall ever existed at all. The impressive stable blocks still stand, but only just. Having been used by the council as offices for several years early into the 21st century, they now lie in total ruin. Local youths have destroyed the insides by fire, and only the outside walls are left standing. If that isn't saved soon, it won't be long before the stable blocks collapse in on themselves. Situated not far from the main entrance, the lodge stood between the 2 parts of the golf courses. However, in the 1970s, this was deemed unsafe and finally demolished in the 1980s. The only sign this was ever there is a small patch of land now used for parking cars. The Great Central Railway line ran along the boundaries of the park for many years. It was served by a small station called Bulwell Halt, which was only 100 yards from where Lawton Drive is now. It was opened on the 24th of April 1909, however closed completely on the 5th of May 1930 owing to a lack of usage. In its day, it would have run from Hucknall and then down towards Bulwell and over the viaduct which used to stand near Morrison's. Today, there is no sign that the station ever existed apart from a footpath along the trackbed and this recently erected plaque. The upper and lower lakes have been popular with generations of Bulwell fishermen. Although in past times they have been unkempt, polluted and adorned with shopping trolleys, today they are much cleaner and still stock a healthy supply of fish. The woods themselves are teeming with wildlife, from an array of wild flowers in the springtime including bluebells and wild garlic, to the birds and squirrels that live in the trees. The children's play park has moved around over the years and is now situated near the Squires Avenue entrance. The cricket pitch has long gone, but it has been replaced by a baseball diamond and pitcher's mound along with a selection of keep-fit equipment for the public to use. If Bulwell Hall Park is looked after, it will be an asset to the community for many years to come.